Hey guys, what's up? It's me Arpit back with another episode of the Jazznation Community. And I hope you are doing great there. I hope you're eating right, taking care of yourself and the people around you. And I know we are going through tough times, but this too shall pass soon, my people. So, this week we have Mr. Sahil Agarwal on the show, who is a founder of Rishihood University. Rishihood is a modern day educational institution with a vision of transforming students into Rishis. So, before you get into this loop, oh, Rishis, so it's not a cult. By Rishis, I mean someone who has gained wisdom and is now using that knowledge and wisdom to give it back to the society to serve its people. So that's the vision of Rishihood universities. And so it's based out of Sonipat, Haryana. It has tons of cool courses like visual arts, performing arts, design and psychology, entrepreneurship programs, and it has teachers, like some of the best teachers from across the country and across the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Let's welcome Mr. Sahil Agarwal to the show.
Originally, the idea did not come to me. It was my father and some of his friends. So,
Okay.
my father has been in the education space for around 20 years now, and he met some colleagues, met some friends who were like-minded, who wanted to do something in the higher education,
Yeah.
which could contribute to the country's development. And in that process, they thought that they should start a university. And at that time, I was very young. I'm young now also, but that time I was just coming out of college. I was just
Self-proclaimed young.
I was 23 or 22 years old that time, and I
Yeah.
was quite fascinated by this possibility of creating a new university. And just coming out of education, I had a lot of ideas myself, that this is what I would like to have
Hmm.
in my education. So
Yeah.
I joined this initiative and was fortunate that all the founders gave me the responsibility to run the university as the CEO.
Hmm.
The name comes from Swami Vivekananda's lectures. So I am a Vivekanand. I follow him. I read. I keep reading his work,
Yeah.
and I found this phrase Rishihood there in his lectures, where he says that all of us must aspire to attain Rishihood, which is the state of being a Rishi. So just like
Hmm.
we have childhood, like we have motherhood, the state
Hmm.
of being a Rishi is Rishihood. And he defines Rishi as someone who is in the pursuit of truth, who seeks knowledge, who seeks wisdom.
Yeah.
And I thought that this is a very appropriate name for an educational institution, especially the kind of educational institution that we want to build, which has a very direct social impact, social engagement.
Sure.
So we chose this name. That's the background.
Hmm. Beautiful. So tell me about this thing that you like about Mr. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. I'm saying Swami Vivekananda. So, how did you get introduced to his teachings? How did that start, or have you been reading about him since childhood?
So a lot of this is a part of family upbringing. I don't know how it happened, but when I was in I think grade 7 or grade 8, I picked up a copy of Bhagavad Gita, started reading it. Didn't understand much that time, but that orientation has been there to
I
explore.
still don't.
That desire was always there to read from spiritual masters, read this spiritual knowledge. So I've been practicing meditation for a long time now. So that is how I started reading about him. Then some of my mentors, when I was in college, they also encouraged me to read some specific portions of Vivekananda's work, because Vivekananda has written 9 volumes. So it's
Hmm.
huge, and I have not completed it. Completed the entire set
Yeah.
yet. So some of the portions that I read during my college days, they were very inspiring. Then we
Hmm.
had the occasion of meeting Anna Hazare a few times, and Anna Hazare, that time he was the icon, because I was in college 2010 to 2014. and India Against Corruption movement. That time it was at peak when I went to college, and I was very active in that movement in my campus. Getting together volunteers, going to the rallies, and whether it is Jantar Mantar or wherever. So we went to his village, Ralegan Siddhi in Maharashtra, and met him, Anna Hazare, later after the movement, after he had settled down back in Ralegan Siddhi. And he said that he was on the verge of committing suicide. When he had left the army, he was on a train station planning to jump on the track and commit suicide. But someone on that path, someone just gave him a small booklet by Vivekananda, and he started reading that while planning his suicide, and that changed his life completely, and that is what made
God
him.
bless that guy who was handing him the book. And thank God he had that book, no?
So that's the so that is how we keep hearing about him, and then we organized some events on his birth anniversary. So 150th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda happened when I was in college, so we fortunately took part in doing some celebrations, and he became a youth icon. He was uh, given the status of the his birthday was given the status of National Youth Day. So all those things helped me know more about him, and that is why I started reading more and more.
Oh, we were almost the same age. You completed your college in 2014. Same here. I completed my college in 2014. So yeah, I have read a lot. I've seen audio, I've heard audio, seen videos of Swami Vivekananda, and I also read the story when he went to America and he addressed everyone saying, "My brothers and sisters of America," and everyone started clapping. So yeah, I have a bit of idea of
We
how he led his life.
my wife, along with some of my friends, we went to that hall in Chicago where he gave that speech. And that time it was not a proper hall, but it was just like a semi-open air kind of a theater when he was addressing. And it's a part of a large museum, art museum of Chicago. I don't know what's the exact name. And when we entered that museum, uh, that day was the anniversary of that speech. So incidentally, that speech is also on 9/11. So on one side we have that Brothers and Sisters of America speech, and on the other side we have 9/11 attacks. So a lot of dichotomy there. And when we entered that museum, the one of the floor managers, she said that, "Are you looking for that Vivekananda speech location? Here it is." So probably she knows that Indians would come and they would find out where Vivekananda gave that speech. So that was a very inspiring, very moving kind of a moment when we were on that stage, and imagining that a boy of around 30 years of age was addressing a global audience at a time when India was nothing. India was a colony.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
quite
Did you try saying that yourself? Like even if the room was empty?
maybe in our mind, but there was no one to listen to.
That's what I was saying. Just to get the feel of how it sounds. Pretty nice, yeah, pretty nice. So yeah, I also went to this place called Kasar, where apparently they say where he got enlightened, Swami Vivekananda, Kasar Devi in Uttarakhand. They have
Okay.
built a temple also there. They say this is the
Okay.
place where he got enlightened, and they have theories also around it that yeah, there are really nice geomagnetical fields over there which helps you align. And yeah, that's and you look really calm also, Sahil. Like, is there a meditation technique that Swami Vivekananda taught? Like, is there a specific technique that he said that you got to follow or something like that?
He has written a lot on meditation and pranayama in his works, and the Ramakrishna Mission has certain practices. But as a practitioner, I follow the art of living techniques.
Oh, Shri Ravi Krishna. Okay, okay. Ravi Shankar, Ravi Krishna keh raha hu. Well, Shri Ravi Shankar. Beautiful, beautiful, yeah. So, so yeah, it was a brainchild of your dad, Rishihood University.
Many people, not just him, but many people combined, and the concept is still evolving. People are still joining. It's more like a movement, and it's institutions are not like temporary or short term things. Institutions are there for centuries. So in
Yes.
that process, a lot of people uh, uh, join. We're collaborating with many people. We are taking inputs from many people. So we are still on in our first year, and we can't say that it's a brainchild of any one person. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very collective brainstorming that is happening.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So when you say people came on board, they came on board as founders, or they?
Came
Yeah.
on board as founders, advisors, founders, mentors.
So what's your vision? Like, since there are a lot of universities around there in Delhi NCR, so I want to ask you, like, Rishihood University, what is it trying to do different from the other universities that are there, and what's the vision for the students who actually come and enroll themselves in the university?
So as an institution, we believe that a lot of good work is happening in India, also in Delhi NCR.
Yeah.
But that is not. We're not looking at it as competition. I answer this as I'll answer this in two ways. One is that India is a large country and India needs many good institutions.
Yes.
Currently, we have very few.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, our motivation to set up Rishihood is not just the education that we impart as training to the students and they get employed or they become entrepreneurs. Not just that, but there is a particular social change mindset that we want to inculcate in our students. Not just in our students, in our faculty, in our entire Rishihood family, and eventually in the society. So,
Mhm.
yeah, what do you saying?
Yeah, I was saying elaborate a little more, but you were about to already. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So it is stemming from the name Rishihood itself. So the state of being a Rishi. So it's a we want to put Rishihood as an aspiration for human society. So
Hmm.
when I say that, it's not a 5 year or a 10 year task. It takes a long time for human aspiration to shift from something material to something internal, and that shift we have given ourselves 21st century to do this. So we have 79 years to do this task ahead of us. But no, I mean that's just a ballpark figure, but we think that if we fundamentally have to contribute something new to the world, not just to our country or our immediate geography, to the world, if we want to contribute something new, then this idea of complete human transformation, or seeking truth in a way that you become one with yourself, you attain the state of being a rishi. That's a very long-term kind of an aspiration, and our institutions, our economy, our polity, our society, a lot of stakeholders of the society, macro
Yeah.
stakeholders of the society, have to align together to achieve this vision. So it will take time, but we are here primarily for that function. We are not here just to provide a good education and make sure that all our guys get a good livelihood.
Hmm. Is there anyone that you see around, or you might have seen on the internet or read about someone who has achieved this level of Rishihood that you say? Like, do you see that in
There are, I
someone?
mean, fortunately, India has been a land where people people have put in their lives in that pursuit, whether it is Swami Vivekananda or his guru, Ramkishan
Hmm.
Paramans,
Hmm. Hmm.
or in the modern times, current times, we have people like Rishi Ravi Shankarji, we have people like Sadhguru. I think some of our entrepreneurs, including people like Ratan Tata, would also be in that category. So yeah, and if we look at even our close circles, people who have dedicated their entire lives serving the society and trying to become one with their own existence. So
Hmm.
that kind of, I think those kinds of people are there. A lot of
Beautiful.
people, a lot of such people are there around. Yeah.
Hmm. Beautiful, Sahil. So, like, how do you plan to impart this sort of knowledge to the faculty who is going to join, and also the students who are going to enroll? Like, what's going to be like the step to impart this sort of knowledge in them, that this is the goal?
So uh, what Vivekanand says about uh, education and knowledge is that it's more of an uncovering rather than imparting. So a lot of the desire to seek truth and the ability to seek truth and truth itself. So these are things that are at a latent level. They are present in ourselves.
Yeah.
So when someone tells us something, there is a resonance. We immediately find a resonance in that idea. It's not because we learned something new, but it clicked with something that was already inside us. So that is the approach to inspire
Is it like
faculty and
connecting
students
dots you're
towards
saying,
this
like
kind of a
Steve Jobs?
pursuit. It's not that there is a textbook and we
No, go on. I was about to say it got interrupted. So I was saying, is it almost the same as Steve Jobs saying connecting the dots is what you're saying? Ki we have the
that,
knowledge
that,
already.
that's one way to look at it. So what Jobs is saying is more experiential. That we have done something, and then we reflect. We realize that, oh, this is how it happened, or it could have happened. Uh, even on non experiential matters. I mean, Vivekanand did not. We can't say that Vivekanand experienced all this because he was just in his 30s uh, when he passed away. So there is a certain level of maybe we can call it consciousness or a stream of wisdom that we're born with. I mean, it's part of the human civilization.
Yeah.
It's not just a result of what we do in the outer world. So definitely our experiences, what we do professionally, what we do in our family, what we do in our society, they add a lot of value, but that's not the only way to acquire this kind of knowledge.
So do you have like these conventional courses of say like engineering and MBA, or do you have like different subjects that you might have like put together yourself? So what should a student expect when they
Our,
join Rishihood?
our So we are. I'll share what schools we have. So we have a school of creativity, which is into design, visual arts, performing arts. Then we have a school of education, which has courses in education and psychology. We have a school of entrepreneurship, which is into SMEs, family business, startup, innovation, business management. We have a school of healthcare for allied health sciences, and we have a school of public leadership, which is the Rashtam School of Public Leadership. It's an autonomous school hosted within Rishihood. Our A lot of our courses are common across these schools because they stem from this idea that we need to provide a broad general education to all the students so that they develop some mental faculties, some emotional faculties to excel in any domain. So
Yeah.
I can choose to work in a domain. That domain depends on my interests, my proclivities, my ambition in life.
Yeah.
But there are certain foundational attributes or foundational character or foundational skills that I need in order to excel in anything. So the ability to lead, the ability to reflect, the ability to learn, the ability to be creative. These are things that are common, that have to be common in all the students. So that is how we've planned our courses. That some portion is common, which is foundational, and some portion is specialized, which relates to their domain.
Beautiful. Okay. So Sahil, like, is it like if a student joins in the first year, and can he or she hop on to another course? Is that what you're saying? Ki if I join in
That,
like say performing arts, next year maybe I can do entrepreneurship,
yes,
and the
that's a
third.
possibility that we have kept, and that is something that we are testing in our design. How feasible it will be, because now we are in our first year,
Yeah.
and next year the students will have that choice to change their major.
Hmm.
So how much of that is feasible, and in order to make that shift from say performing arts to healthcare, would the students miss out on some things and they would have to cover it up? Those are the things that we are putting in our design and trying to test it this year.
Hmm. So, how do these courses get conducted? Do the student have to be present on campus? Does it happen online? I know the campus is
So
in Sonipat, but do students stay over there, or do they learn
some of
it
our
on?
courses are completely residential because of the nature of a 24/7 kind of an engagement. Some faculty members also stay on campus. The students of that program stay on campus. So particularly programs in design and entrepreneurship, they require a lot of hands-on action,
Of course.
and sometimes that happens in labs. Sometimes that happens in small teams, project work with faculty, without faculty. So a lot of that requires students to be together uh, on campus. So they are 100% residential programs, but of course, in Corona, we have to just manage and uh, provide whatever can be done online so that whenever this gets over, it can also be, rest of the things can be delivered on campus.
So how has the like the graph ch- I mean, I want to ask is ki how does the graph looks like, say when your dad thought about it that I want to start something of this sort to now? How has the things changed? What has got added to the ecosystem, and what does it look like
Okay,
exactly?
so a lot of things actually have been added. So when we started, it was just a thought of setting up something good in higher education. That was the starting point.
Yeah.
Then it has to be a university. It has to be in this area. It has to be this big. It has to be of this kind. What kind of courses we want to do? Non-conventional courses, a general education plus a specialized education kind of an approach. Then what kind of faculty members we want to have. We want to do a very student centric choice based kind of an education.
Yeah.
So all these things happened during this course of setting up Rishihood over the last 5 or 6 years. And in this process we met, I think maybe around 500 good educationists or social thinkers or political thinkers or economists or entrepreneurs who gave us a lot of ideas on what they think education should lead to. We
Hmm.
visited, I think, more than 100 universities within India and outside India to learn from their approach, meet their professors, meet their students. So a lot of churning has happened in these last 5 to 6 years while setting this up, and that continues. So one attribute that we are developing as an organization, that we are a learning organization. We're not a teaching organization. So when we are a learning organization, we ourselves have to keep learning because things are changing. There are so many people in the world trying to do good things, and we have to collaborate with them. We have to learn from them. We have to share our ideas with them, and that is where the churn happens.
Nice. So, like when you say you went abroad and saw how the universities operate over there, so what was that process like? You stayed at the university, learned it from them, or like what was that process like?
So
And
yeah, I myself spent one semester at the School of Public and Environmental Affairs at Indiana University. It's I think globally ranked second or third in public policy. So and then me along with my colleagues, we have visited for a day, for 2 days, several universities, um, interacting with their faculty members, with their student community, with some of their employers, with some of their governing body members. uh, we have uh, we have recruited faculty members who have studied or worked at such institutions. So our vice chancellor, some of our deans. Uh, we are very proud of the fact that our faculty members, they come from institutions like Stanford University, like the University of Minnesota, London School of Economics, IITs, Northeastern University, Boston. So many of such prominent institutions globally are represented in our faculty body. So not just we as founders, but our faculty members contribute a lot of ideas to what kind of education we should deliver.
so, were there educators over there? Or were there students over there, and now they have come over here and
Both, both.
both? Okay, nice. So, what is the scale of? I mean, I don't know if that's the right word for a university, but how does the scale looks like for Rishihood University? If you want to like scale it up, is it going to be more branches that you're going to open up, or what is the future looks like of scaling it
One,
up?
one, one thing that I've learned from one of my colleagues is that scale is not size. So our
Hmm.
size can be a 25-acre campus and 2,000 students or 3,000 students
Yeah.
in a few years from now. But that does not mean that this size will determine the scale that we achieve. So for us, scale would be if we can make a change, a delta change in what human society aspires for. So currently, if our collective aspiration is GDP growth, or if our collective aspiration is the Human Development Index, can we make a change in that aspiration to make it more internal, as in make it more of a learning civilization rather than a material achievement civilization? So if we have to do, we have to do it via policy initiatives, via setting up benchmarks, via setting up role models, via doing some pilots, and then those pilots scale up. So our scale would not necessarily come from only the students who have graduated from our university and setting up good enterprises or working in big companies and doing very well in their lives. But can this approach, can this thought process be adopted, or can this thought process inspire many more institutions and projects and governments? That would be how we would look at scale.
Really nice, yeah. That sounded so nice, yeah, Sahil. I got lost almost into it. So, so is it bootstrapped, or like how did you get any investors on board for this? Not especially the co-founders, but did you, like, is it bootstrapped totally, or did you seek out fundings to set up the
We have
institute?
we have a number of donors who have contributed to this development. There are corporate people, there are individuals, institutions. So it's a collective philanthropy. So the founders have contributed something, but a lot of other people are there. So when we can't say it is bootstrapped, we can't say that there are investors, because these are typical startup terms. But
Hmm.
being an institution, there is a different path that institutions adopt to raise funds,
Yeah.
which is mostly through institutional or individual or corporate philanthropy.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, how do students enroll for this? Do they give an entrance exam, or how do you select your students, or how do students reach out to you?
For our undergraduate programs, the students have to give an entrance exam, which is, we accept several entrance exams, whether it is the JEE result or the SAT scores or the Pearson exam. If they've not given any of them, then we recommend them a certain test, which they can fill in, which they can take online. The rest of the application is also completely online. Then they are called for an interview, which is also online.
Yeah.
So it's a 100% online application process. We take into consideration their board exams. I mean, they should clear class 12 with a certain set of marks. They should have an attitude or aptitude towards studying the program that they intend to study, and they should be able to perform well on this entrance test, which mostly checks their logical and quantitative skills.
So these young chaps, do they even understand the vision of the institute? Like, how are they, like, when they receive this sort of vision of the college, of what they expect out of their students?
I think, so in my personal experiences, I've seen a major shift uh, in the youth consciousness,
Hmm.
not just in India, but I think globally.
Yeah.
India more so, because we are on the cusp of, from a developing country, we are trying to be something else. And in that process, youth aspirations have uh, very strongly changed from just trying to settle down in life, to taking risks, to trying something new, to I mean, Indian youth has become much more aspirational and much more global, or much more uh, take do whatever it takes kind of an attitude that has come into Indian youth, at least for a critical mass. I'm not saying that all of us have become that,
Hmm.
but when this change happens in the consciousness of youth, as this generation gets older, the generations that follow, they automatically, this becomes their baseline, and they build on that. So what we are doing today is built on what our elders had set as the baseline. And
Hmm.
during those times, Indian society had India as a nation had very difficult situations. We had to we'd come out of colonization. We had to deal with poverty. We had poor international relations. We did not have any manufacturing capacity, any good trade policy, financial policy. So
Yeah.
these things take time. And now India is much more stable, much more powerful, much more vibrant, much more stronger in terms of its international relations. So all these things contribute to changing the youth mindset, and it has taken us several decades to achieve what we have done now. And if I look at the students who are coming to universities, they
Hmm.
may not have the full picture or full understanding of the kind of Rishihood vision that we're talking of.
Yeah.
But certainly they're thinking of something else. I mean, I would not have thought of those things when I was entering college. So
Yeah.
the students entering college now, they are much different from their seniors 15 years ago or
I
30 years ago.
remember entering a college. I used to check how's the crowd and are the guys nice, are the girls nice, and does the event and everything happens over there.
So that's still a part of the student mindset, but I think it's reducing, and they are looking for many other things, that what kind of subjects will I study, will I be doing some internships, will I be going for a foreign exchange, will I be working on some projects, will I get a social exposure, will I choose my credits. So all these things, they were not questions in my mind when I was entering college, and I don't think they were the questions in my peers' mind.
Yeah.
But increasingly, when we interact with students now, they have very different questions.
Nice. So, how do students get to know about it? Is it through social media? Is it through like how do students get to know about Rishihood University?
I mean, several things. So definitely, social media is one. I'm not a marketing person, so I'm trying to learn all this. But social media, digital marketing,
You're
you
quite
know,
nice on LinkedIn. I should say that.
yeah, trying to pick up skills on LinkedIn. So then going to schools, talking to teachers and principals about our approach to education, the kind of programs that we're doing,
Yeah.
uh, you know, going to meet the students, interacting with the parents, calling them to visit our campus. So all of these different things are happening. We have a marketing and admissions team which helps spread the word about the university and reach out to the right students. We are not a like a uh, bulk admission kind of a university. We are looking for students who have the potential to understand this vision, who have the intention to contribute to their social and national development, who
Hmm.
have the uh, interest to pursue a career of their passion in
Yeah.
these domains, the few domains that we have. So
Hmm.
our audience is niche, and we are trying to reach out to them through these various methods.
Really nice. That's what I was thinking. I was reading this article day before where it said ki, these UPSC students who have not been able to clear their exams for like couple of years, these rankings that they get over there, even though they are not able to get through the main exam, but they that ranking should actually help them get into some other college. And when you said like, yeah, you take those also in consideration, so it's a really nice move here. So yeah, really nice, Sahil. And yeah, I wish I had this sort of option. I don't know if I would have been able to get through the college, but yeah, I was never a very studious student. No, I was, but yeah, not after 12th for sure. So how big is the team? Like what like who all are there who make this happen?
So, I mean, I think we'll have around 40 to 50 people in the team. I don't know the exact numbers because we are in a very active recruitment phase. So the numbers are changing every day.
Mhm.
But maybe around 50 people, which includes our academic team, our outreach team, our administrative team, infrastructure team. So that would be the ballpark figure. Yeah.
Cool. So you have everything in house, like the marketing team, everyone is in house, like at the university only. They work from there.
Yeah, I mean, the main coordinators of each function are in-house, and then of course we take help from a lot of partners, for example, for design, for
Hmm.
digital marketing, for our other services such as housekeeping, security. There are other people who provide us that support, but the main functions are in-house.
So what is your average day looks like at work, Sahil? Ki how do you start your day, and what is like, what's your day like at
So
work, at
my
in life?
uh, the answer at the moment will be very different because just had a baby a few months ago. So the average day depends on, or the average night,
Congratulations, my friend.
average day or the average night depends a lot on her. But typically, the day would start at maybe 9:30 or 10 when I would go to office. When just looking back, I think this uh, I can't recollect an average day after COVID because things have been changing so fast. Uh, we have been non-average for a long time now. But before that, the kind of work that I'm involved with, it's a lot of stakeholder management. I mean, discussions with our senior leadership team, our founders, our external advisors, partners, vendors. That is one segment. Then a lot of internal meetings on curriculum, on outreach, on admissions, on infrastructure, on our financing. And that's a lot of internal meetings. Third is several email and telephonic communications. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of my time, I spend a lot of my time in interactions, whether it is interactions such as these or within our team or via emails or via social media. And then I try to find some time which is more reflective, where we can build on our long-term plans, strategic initiatives, some research and writing. So I like to read a lot, and I also write sometimes. So
What sort of
that is
stuff do
also
you like to read?
mostly non-fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So things on governance, on economics, on spirituality, on institution building, on culture, on society. So those are the things that I read on philosophy, psychology.
Mm.
So that is what I like to read. I also spend time reading some reports or articles to get more awareness about a particular sector. I did a master's in international relations, so that is my one of my areas of interest, following geopolitics, following international law and order, following what India is doing with the rest of the world. So that is what I read about, and I write primarily on things to do with education or entrepreneurship or the social sector. That has been my area of writing.
How long back did you join the university? 4 years, right?
Around 4 years now, yes. I mean, and when I joined, it was more of a part-time role because the university was at a conceptual stage that time.
Hmm.
In the last 2 years, it has become a full-time role.
Conceptual, as in you were building the infrastructure there, the
We were
building.
building the infrastructure. We were, our operations had not kicked in. We were brainstorming the idea of our university, and while setting up the infrastructure, I did not have a major role there. We have a good construction team. We have a good team of consultants and architect who is um, who help us in the infrastructure. So
Hmm.
my role was very limited there, but the ideations on what kind of courses we want to incorporate in our university, what would be our teaching style, what kind of
Yeah.
faculty we have, all these things. They were, and they didn't, that time it was not a full time thing. So we would meet maybe 2 or 3 days in a week and brainstorm on all these issues.
So when you hire a new faculty, what all characteristics or personality traits do you look for in that person so that they can join the?
Actually, we just released our faculty recruitment um, advertorial that we're looking for faculty to join us in this session. So faculty who have we put three attitudes there as our preferences. The faculty should be entrepreneurial, the faculty should be multidisciplinary, and a change maker mindset. So these are some common characteristics that we look for in a person, because the role of a faculty in the way we have imagined our institution is not just to transfer knowledge from a book or an e-resource to the student. The
Hmm.
faculty has to himself or herself become a living example to the students that this is what I can do rest of my life. So they should be hands-on. They should be involved with some projects. So almost I think all of our faculty, they are very action-oriented, if I can use that word. So they're not just people who will transfer information from one place to the other.
Hmm. 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 So nice. Yeah. Thank you for doing this for students and for the future generation. I wish we had this sort of, with this sort of university, or the vision of this university could have been there at our time also. But then, yeah, I'm really happy for our.
I think this is this uh, all such things come at a certain point of time in a society's history or a society's journey. I think now it is time for such a thing. If we would not do this, someone else would do this, or the students would themselves start demanding something like this. So we are just fortunate that we were there, as they say, at the right place at the right time to
Yeah.
do something like.
Exactly. Actually, I was talking to one of my friend also when, and I saw like my cousin who, like the teachers were telling him do this, do that, and he's not at all interested. I'm like, these teachers are so boring, man. Why would he want to study? And I'm like, when we have the internet and we have an access to the best teachers in India, why do we need such mediocre I mean, I should not say that mediocre teachers. They are working so hard and all, but then yeah, they are, most of the teachers in school and colleges are just working for a paycheck, right? And if there could be a transformation and in something along this line, then yeah, it'll be really cool for the students, for the country, and maybe for the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
one thumb rule that we use to do our internal quality check is that if we are teaching a course, or
hmm,
if we are designing a degree program, would we enroll in that program, or would we have our kids enroll in that
exactly.
program, or would we
Yeah.
send our kids to Rishihood University? So that's like a thumb rule that we that helps us uh, reflect on the very purpose of why we are doing something.
Hmm. How do you keep a check on this? How do you say like you have reached a milestone? How do you keep a check on that we are heading the right way? Does it come
So I
from
mean,
intuition?
yeah, intuition also sometimes, but uh, in this long plan that we have for the 21st century, there are certain milestones which are, let's say, every 10 years. So the first milestone would be that uh, the uh, the academic structures that we develop, uh, do they start becoming talking points or benchmarks for other institutions?
Hmm.
So that would be the first major milestone that we can say that we have achieved. And in order to do that, there are so many smaller objectives, like setting up our own curricular frameworks, getting some sort of recognition or acceptance or validation from faculty members in India, outside, getting an industry validation when they say that yes, the students who are coming out of Rishihood are good students, and we want these kinds of students, more and more these kinds of students. When the society says that the students who are coming out, they're contributing to the positive, to some positive change in the society. So these are things that uh, from a few months, they take a few months time, to things that take a few years of time.
Yeah.
And these are measures to check whether we are heading in the right direction.
So, any advice for the educators, even if it's like a personal educator who are teaching just 8 to 10 students, or like maybe like a school educator, how to actually bring about a change since you are doing that already and you're giving your time. So, like, if any advice for the educators, if they're listening to this.
Something that I use personally is that uh, if I am participating in an educational activity as a student, what would
Yeah.
interest me? What would interest me, and what would I take back from that activity?
Hmm.
So, what would interest me would be in the form of the content, would be form of the method in which that uh, content is being delivered, the style
Yeah.
of delivering that, the environment, the peers. So a lot of that. I mean, that entire educational experience. What would it be that interests me, that would make me want to voluntarily come and sit there, rather than come because I've paid a fee and come because I've been asked to maintain a 75% attendance. That would be one thing. And second is, what would I take back? So that is my personal way of reflection when I look at education, and that would be my my piece of you know uh, I mean, that is what I would like to share with other people in education. That if we can make students interested in the process of learning, and if we can help them take something back, which not only evolves their own life but also helps them contribute to their society, then they would automatically be indulged in the process of education, in the process of learning. Once we have ignited the interest in someone to learn, our job is done. I mean, then rest of it just
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah.
Because we don't generate an interest in the student in learning, we have to force the entire setup to, to just keep that
Show me your
ball
hand.
moving
Show me your hand.
before.
Yeah. Sorry to break your flow. You were saying something.
How do we generate interest? That is, I think, the core question that educationists should reflect on. When we design our curriculum, there's this popular talk by Simon Sinek called "Start with Why." I think purpose is the most important thing to brainstorm on, ideate on, debate on, reflect on when we are developing an educational experience. Once we have a strong purpose, the students would automatically resonate with it, and the students will participate in that.
Yeah. I have heard this statement in a different form by an entrepreneur. He said, just figure out the why, how you can figure out later. Just figure out
Yeah.
why you want to do it. So, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
was
the
really,
another
yeah.
interesting, another interesting piece of this why and how is the who. So someone also says that you figure out the who, and they will help you figure out the why and how. So having a very good team that I mean, in my life, I treat this as a blessing. The kind of mentors I had, the kind of colleagues that I have now in our leadership team. I think that's the kind of people who constantly motivate us to and participate in this reflective, iterative, creative process.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, Sahil. Thank you so much for this. Is there something that you might want to ask me?
No, thanks a lot, Arpit, for organizing this. I enjoyed this podcast
Yeah.
with
Thank you.
you, and
Thank you so much.
I hope there is something that our viewers and our listeners will find interesting. And uh, I mean, as an institution, we are very open and we collaborate and we work together with uh, um, the rest of the society. So, if anyone feels there is something that they would like to do with us at Rishihood after watching this, I would be very happy to know their thoughts and work with them.
Beautiful. Where can they connect with you on this?
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn. Oh,
that's
I'll
fine.
cool.
That's
I'll put your LinkedIn in the
yeah,
description then.
LinkedIn is yeah.
I thought there's like a segment where they have to go and reach out to you. Oh, LinkedIn, bro. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for this, Sahil. I hope to see you soon, buddy.
Thank you so much, Arpit. I enjoyed doing this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Bye.
Pleasure talking to you, man. Sure.